Chapter 2269, Falling One After Another. To break free from the torrent's constraints, Jiu paid a hefty price. Transforming the water into a colossal ice block did indeed lessen the impact force, but she felt as though a gigantic pillar of ice and snow had slammed her into the ground. The sheer magnitude of that force was unimaginable. Fortunately, she possessed a multitude of abilities. Among them were those of the enhancement type. Thus, in terms of physical fortitude, she rivaled enhancement-type mutants of the Black Chariot level. It was through this formidable physical strength and powerful self-healing capabilities that she managed to withstand the blow. Jiu rose to her feet atop the colossal ice formation. Never since her birth had she faced such a brutal, battered battle. Yet this didn't fill her with terror, only exhilaration and rage. For the first time, fighting a Black Charioteer mutant with her own strength had shown her what true might truly felt like. But alas, this is where your journey ends. Jiu wiped the blood from her wrist. Miter drew a deep breath, suddenly spreading her arms wide as blazing white light surged from her eyes. Rumble! Above the sky, thunderclouds storm rapidly gathered, the forces of wind, lightning, and rain coalescing with speed. Jiu mirrored the same gesture. Your celestial phenomena number no more than 5 or 6, yet the forces I command exceed 700. Therefore, once you've laid all your cards before me, you forfeit the right to fight me. Thunder rumbled incessantly across the sky. The celestial phenomena above Jiu were even more complex than hers, not only fierce winds and thunderclaps, but also skyfires suspended like stars, blanketing the sky. The earth trembled as light and shadow shifted rapidly. Jiu unleashed over 10 abilities simultaneously. Miter finally sensed a flicker of panic, yet she refused to admit she might lose to a human. Die! She commanded the raging winds, thunder, and torrential rain to assault Jiu. The downpour formed a torrential flood, what she believed to be Jiu's weakness. Yet Jiu merely raised a hand. Hailstones as large as boulders plummeted from the sky, raining down upon Miter in overwhelming numbers. A frigid current surged forth, freezing the torrential rain mid-air into solid ice. Miter's pupils contracted sharply. She suddenly realized her powers were utterly ineffective against Jiu. From the heavens, fiery meteors plummeted, one after another, fireballs dozens of meters in diameter, trailing black smoke as they crashed toward Miter with thunderous booms. Fireballs, ice spheres, gale-force winds, thunderclaps, mountain fissures, shifting light and shadow. Possessing multiple abilities and being able to use multiple abilities simultaneously are not the same concept. Yet Jiu could unleash 13 distinct elemental powers at once. After a torrent of pure, overwhelming supernatural abilities collided, Miter, whose repertoire remained far too limited compared to Jiu, finally had his weaknesses exposed. He was relentlessly worn down until he was utterly exhausted. This formidable warrior, seasoned by countless battles, ultimately fell to Jiu, a monster forged in the laboratory. After her victory, Jiu informed only Zhang Yi of the outcome. "Mr. Chaos, I won." Zhang Yi, still locked in fierce combat, managed a quick reply upon hearing the news. "Congratulations. You may now enjoy your spoils." Jiu nodded, first proceeding to absorb Miter's abilities into her own. From now on, her control over celestial phenomena would grow even stronger. She also gained the ability to command water. The origin of a Black Chariot-level mutant was utterly satisfying to devour. Her entire body trembled, her cheeks flushed, and an indescribable, overwhelming sense of bliss washed over her. She comfortably found a rock to lie down on, unwilling to do anything else. Rest. Rest for a while. Savor this delicious spoils of war. Phantom Serpent Slake slain in battle. Child of the weather, Miter perished. The grim tidings spread relentlessly. These reports didn't originate from within the Wulwan Empire's military, instead, Yang Xinxin relayed them in real time. She thoroughly enjoyed tormenting her enemies this way. Of course, this wasn't without purpose, it shattered their will to fight. The ideal outcome was to drive them into utter despair, compelling them to choose suicide. That way, the Huashu Alliance's casualties could be minimized. What? You're saying the main force isn't the Mechanical Legion? Are you kidding? The cost of a single mechanical life form is astronomical. The materials and energy crystals required to repair the damaged ones brought back after the war, who knows how much that would consume. So naturally, we minimize consumption wherever possible. Yang Xinxin now sat upon the throne of the Wulwan Empire Palace. The Grand Hall was littered with corpses, members of the imperial family, nobles, palace guards, and maids. Within the entire palace of the Wulwan Empire, few living souls remained. Before Yang Xinxin, kneeling below the imperial dais, were several lizard men dressed in splendid attire. Among them were the Queen of Suyi and several powerful ministers. Yang Xinxin kept them alive for now, needing to extract the Wulwan Empire's most sensitive intelligence from them. Seated regally upon the throne, Yang Xinxin exuded an air of nobility befitting a queen. Her bearing commanded more authority than Suyi ever had. Below, the slaves pressed their foreheads to the floor, dared not look up. Speak. Tell me every core secret you know about the Wulwan Empire. Yang Xinxin rested her chin in her hand, speaking calmly. By the way, what I desire most now is to annihilate the entire Wulwan clan and seize every valuable resource from the Wulwan Empire. No one knows the Wulwan Empire better than you. Speak. Beneath her, ministers and royal family members scrambled to pledge their loyalty to Yang Xinxin. The Wulwan Empire possesses immense mineral wealth. Our founding site sits atop a massive vein, with underground reserves vast enough to sustain us for another 3,000 years. Furthermore, if you intend to exterminate our entire race, you must ensure all escape routes are sealed. When the Wulwan Empire was founded, numerous escape passages were deliberately constructed, prepared precisely for a day like this. Those exceptional noble offspring have already been sent to secure regions as seeds of survival. In the future, they will repopulate and rebuild a civilization using the resources preserved for them. Yang Xinxin's lips curved upward. Very well. The task of hunting them down falls to you. Your Majesty, we shall obey your command. Having their own people pursue their own kind was remarkably convenient. It spared the Allied forces the trouble of searching everywhere. Chapter 2270, Falling One After Another, Part 2. On another battlefield, the battle between Animo, wielding the power of 8 gods, and Black Tortoise and Vermilion Bird was nearing its end. His pride, the 8 animal forms, had long been thoroughly studied by Black Tortoise and Vermilion Bird. The two were merely awaiting Yang Xinxin's command for the final assault. Upon receiving the order, they unleashed relentless attacks upon Animo. Black Tortoise was massive, a mobile fortress. Vermilion Bird was agile, and the ice prison's icy flames held a natural advantage against all close combat mutant. Once touched by the flames, escape was impossible without carving through flesh and bone. After 2 hours of fierce combat, Animo could not escape their relentless pursuit, whether in the form of a soaring bird, a colossal bear, or a ghost shark. Ultimately, he was worn down and killed by the two of them. However, in another sector, Xiao Liu, accompanied by 2 brothers, faced a far less smooth battle against the Divine Mantle, Court. Xiao Liu's ability index wasn't exceptionally high. After all, for the past 3 or 4 years, he had merely been a high-level officer constantly suppressed by Li Changgong. The resources Li Changgong provided him were limited. His growth to his current level was entirely due to his own clandestine efforts. Yet within a year of becoming Supreme Commander, unlike Li Changgong, he didn't hoard all resources for himself but vigorously cultivated his subordinates. Now, Baijan, the second-generation Sky War god, his favored successor, had already broken through to the realm of the White Chariot. By comparison, Xiao Liu possessed only 22,000 points, a somewhat paltry figure for the highest combat power in a major region. Nevertheless, aided by the colossal mechanical life form and the support of Qinjia Hao and Qi Yukuan, coupled with overwhelming intelligence superiority, he did gain some initial advantage in his battle against Court. What he hadn't anticipated was that even after cutting off Court's access to new consumables, the latter still carried a substantial stash of these items. the divine mantle itself functioned as armor, draped over other beings to extract their entire life force for combat. Over the years, Court had cultivated numerous gifted subordinates. Once their strength reached a level he could control, he transformed them into living corpses, then refined them into nutrient blocks. In this desolate urban district, he engaged Xiao Liu in a fierce battle. Xiao Liu commanded a colossal mechanical life form, transforming chains into black dragon serpents to encircle and hunt his foe. Xiao Liu himself could enhance his physical form and wield diverse weapons in combat. An ordinary hand cannon in his grasp became the formidable black dragon cannon. On the battlefield, artillery roared fiercely. The two fought with such intensity that even Lianqing's traces were erased. But Court was incredibly difficult to kill. Whenever he sustained irreparable damage, he simply replaced his core. Who knew how many more of these he carried? Each had once been a prodigy of the Lizard clan, now ruthlessly forged into expendable components. Court grinned savagely, evading Xiao Liu's assault before unleashing a powerful energy cannon from his palm, hurtling straight toward his opponent. Xiao Liu raised his shield to block. The E-metal alloy shield activated, standing before him like the gates of hell. This is truly exasperating. Our front lines are already collapsing on a massive scale, and several silver armor generals have fallen. Damn it all. Every last one of you land-dwelling monkeys deserves to die. Court's face was now cold and terrifying, his heart filled with impatience. But this guy before him had come prepared. It would be difficult to take him down quickly. It doesn't matter. We'll just keep wearing you down like this. My comrades will arrive to support me soon. You're doomed to lose. Xiao Liu said in a deep voice, deliberately applying psychological pressure to Court. Court cast a cold glance around. Escape was impossible now. First, the black chains extending from the colossal mechanical life form had formed a dense net of encirclement. With Xiao Liu's enhanced abilities, breaking through swiftly was utterly impossible. And if he tried to break out, Xiao Liu behind him and the human cannon Chen Jiahao would deliver crushing blows. You insist on going down with me? You despicable bastard. Court spat coldly. A ruthless man, he saw defeat as inevitable and saw no point in fighting to the death. With his abilities, he could thrive anywhere he fled. Retreat was his new plan. Xiao Liu frowned. You think I'd let you walk now? Total victory was within reach. Zhang Yi had warned that any lizard man who escaped could sow seeds of vengeance. After all, Huashu Kingdom had risen from weakness to power precisely to exact this revenge. They would never grant such an opportunity to others. Therefore, not a single lizard man of the Wulwan clan would be spared. Court gritted his teeth in fury. Suddenly, he grinned savagely and pulled another white doll from his bosom. This time, however, the doll did not resemble a lizard man. Instead, it was human in form. This was a captain-level mutant they had captured during the first invasion of the Wulwan Empire. Very well, I'll kill you first. Transforming you into my consumable will surely make me stronger, ha ha ha. With that, Court swallowed the human-shaped consumable into his belly. Moments later, he transformed into a human form. Upon seeing this, Xiao Liu's eyes immediately grew strange. The body Kota had taken was that of a former high-ranking commander from the northwest region. He likely knew all this, everything was deliberate. Just as Court prepared to make his final stand, a voice suddenly echoed from the distance. Xiao Liu, you're taking far too long, aren't you? Hearing this voice, Court's movements froze mid-air. Xiao Liu also frowned, his expression looking even more displeased than when facing Court. For the one who arrived was none other than Li Changgong. Indeed, Li Changgong had instantly defeated Insect and then rushed straight to the battlefield where Xiao Liu was. 2 military swords were sheathed at his waist. His combat uniform was spotless, without a single tear. A composed smile graced his face. It was clear his battle had ended effortlessly, without encountering any resistance. Xiao Liu had long known Li Changgong had swiftly disposed of his opponent, but hadn't expected him to come here. He hadn't planned on requesting Li Changgong's aid either. Court's eyes darted around. Seeing Li Changgong, his heart filled with dread. Li Changgong's information was right there in their database. He knew full well this guy was a Black Chariot-level mutant. Now, things were getting dangerous. Court extended his long tongue, licking his lips. His voice was dry as he said, "Hiss. Hiss. You guys want to gang up on me? Fine, bring it on. No one else will ever know anyway." Chapter 2272, Falling One After Another, Part 3. Faced with this crude provocation, Li Changgong merely curved his lips into a smirk. He didn't even glance at Court, instead fixing his gaze on Xiao Liu. "Are you up for it? If not, then I'll handle it." Chen Jiahao and Qi Yuquan exchanged glances, their expressions equally helpless. Having two former supreme commanders of the Northwest region appear in the same place, especially Li Changgong, who'd been stripped of his authority, left them deeply awkward. They knew only this: the Li Changgong of today was far more formidable than the man they'd deposed. Even that night's battle had been fought with underhanded tactics. If Li Changgong seized the opportunity to strike at Xiao Liu and them, who could stop him? Li Changgong seemed to sense their thoughts and let out a cold laugh. "Rest assured, I wouldn't stoop to such actions. At the very least, don't forget, I, Li Changgong, am also a soldier of Huashu Kingdom. Even if I wanted to deal with you, it would be after this battle." Court chuckled darkly. "Are you enemies? How about I step aside first and let you settle your issues yourselves?" "You wish." Li Changgong and Xiao Liu glared at him simultaneously. Their personal grudges were one matter, the fate-deciding battle for Huashu Kingdom was another entirely. Xiao Liu pondered briefly before addressing Li Changgong, "End this swiftly. Annihilate the entire Wulan clan. That is the command Chaos has issued us. Li Changgong, join forces with us. After we kill him, I'll give you 30% of the origin." Chen Jiahao and Qi Yuquan both turned to Xiao Liu, "Commander." The origin of a Black Chariot-level mutant was priceless. They had already fought so long, and the situation looked extremely favorable. Continuing the battle offered a high probability of ultimate victory. Xiao Liu remained unmoved, his eyes fixed on Li Changgong. The smile slowly faded from Li Changgong's face. He had come here intending to witness a spectacle, Xiao Liu's downfall. After his journey to the Deep Sea Kingdom, he had received guidance from King Jin and consumed the Sun Fruit, elevating his ability index to a staggering 27,000 points. Killing Xiao Liu would be effortless for him. Yet he hadn't anticipated that even now, Xiao Liu still didn't prioritize personal gain above all else. Li Changgong's heart was profoundly shaken. After a long silence, he spoke slowly, "I finally understand why they all sided with you during that rebellion." During that night of rebellion, the major legions had certainly detected Xiao Liu and his allies' movements. Yet none had sent troops to suppress them. Even after the power transition, no unrest had erupted. Li Changgong acknowledged Xiao Liu's worth. He truly was more suited than himself to be a military commander. In that moment, Li Changgong felt a sense of release. Truthfully, he had already let go long ago. What did regional commanders or regional lords matter? Before absolute power, they were mere dust. Today, his power had soared to 27,000 points, nearing the level of a bishop. He understood this truth more profoundly than ever. "You bastard. At last, my cultivation of you hasn't been wasted." "Ha ha ha." Li Changgong roared with laughter, his face radiating relief. Xiao Liu and the others, however, were utterly speechless. What exactly did you train us in? That habit of self-aggrandizement, it seemed, hadn't changed a bit. As Li Changgong's laughter faded, his form abruptly vanished from the spot. 6 realms without distance, teleportation. For short-range dashes, he was faster than Zhang Yi. Court felt an overwhelming intent to kill envelop his body. He spun violently, thrusting his right palm fiercely toward Li Changgong. Divine Star Flow. Vast energy surged from his palm toward Li Changgong. Li Changgong had only one action: draw his sword and slash. The blinding torrent of energy split apart the instant it neared the edge of the sword. Like a flood encountering a mountain in the river, it parted into two streams, not a single drop touching Li Changgong's body. Court was stunned. His attack had been utterly ineffective. Just how powerful was this man before him? Li Changgong swiftly provided the answer, teleporting close once more and delivering a brutal downward slash. The setting sun bled crimson, the evening wind sliced like blades, and a fierce intent to kill blossomed with the sword's approach. Court realized the enemy's overwhelming power, instantly unleashing every ounce of his strength, draining his entire being in one breath. A torrent of energy surged skyward, hurtling straight toward the man and his sword. Shoo! Li Changgong ignored his defense and counterattack, delivering a single slash that was light as a feather yet swift as the wind, as effortless as cutting through air. Court's true form, that divine mantle, split silently in two. How is this possible? Court's voice cracked hoarsely, but before he could utter another word, the cloak disintegrated into dust in the air, like a garment rotted by time meeting the wind. Death Blade, the blade of ultimate slaughter. If Zhang Yi's power was absolute defense, then Li Changgong's was absolute offense. This former military prodigy of Huashu Kingdom had now fully completed his metamorphosis. Li Changgong's displayed prowess left Xiao Liu and the others utterly speechless. They never imagined Li Changgong could grow to such heights in less than a year. For a moment, Xiao Liu's thoughts grew complex. He considered bringing Li Changgong back to the northwest region, for that region desperately needed a powerful mutant to anchor it. Yet, recalling Li Changgong's unorthodox ways, he silently shook his head. Li Changgong said nothing, merely using his sword to split the mutant origin of the court into two parts. He took only 30%, his rightful share, while the remaining 70% was stored in an energy tank and tossed to Xiao Liu. Take it! With that, Li Changgong flung open his cloak and leapt away, heading toward the city district. The battle wasn't over yet. Cleaning up the aftermath and wrapping things up were crucial tasks. Xiao Liu watched Li Changgong's receding figure, his emotions strangely unsettled. He's changed. Xiao Liu murmured. Behind him, Chen Jiahao and Qi Yuquan approached. Commander Xiao. Don't be fooled by appearances. Old habits die hard. Chen Jiahao addressed Xiao Liu. Qi Yuquan added, because we agreed no one would harm their own here. Without chaos and the others watching, who knows what he might do? After a moment's contemplation, Xiao Liu spoke calmly, enough of that. Now, the entire army advances. Conduct a thorough search of the entire city district. He turned back and addressed Chen Jiahao and Qi Yuquan with grave determination, enunciating each word, not a single lizard man escapes. I want corpses. The two saluted solemnly, yes, Commander.